Hi, everyone. Joe Woolley, CEO of the Nashville LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and I'm coming to you live with a legislative update. We're trying something new. This is the first time we've ever done anything like this. And to tell you the truth, we're just kind of going with it. It was an idea that came to me after the day that we had. We're trying to bring you a lot of information that people need to know about, that our members need to know about, specifically around the legislature and the anti-LGBT bills that are out there that we are working to stop. We thought coming to you in this video is another way that we can share items and updates in a different way, because we've sent you a lot of emails and there's a lot of things that have been sent and talked about, and we wanted to bring it to you in this form. So if you're joining us live on any of our streaming platforms, please ask questions as you have them, and if not, this will be recorded and then we'll send this out to our members so they have an update as well. As I said, I'm kind of just making this up, and it's almost a therapy in a way, because it's been a tough day. Today I testified in front of the Senate Education Committee against the anti-transgender student athlete bill, and we were hopeful that the Senate Education Committee would, see this bill, and what we asked them today was to pause for a year, to not pass it. And I really want to thank the people that testified alongside me, Allie Chapman of GLSEN, and a mom of a trans child, and Chase Strangio of the ACLU. Chase is a rock star and spoke to the legal merits of the bill. He prosecuted and has been involved in the legal court cases around the North Carolina bathroom bill, and most currently the Idaho anti-trans athlete bill. And he knows the court cases inside and out around this anti-LGBT discriminatory legislation, and he's doing all that he can to stop this. And he gave some great testimony. The video isn't out yet, but we'll make sure to share it to members and bring you that testimony when we get it. I wanted to talk about the testimony that I gave because I think it's a good way to start really understanding this issue when we speak about the business community and our opposition to these bills. So briefly, here is the testimony from today's hearing that I had. The Chamber advocates, educates, and connects on behalf of our individual, small business, corporate, and nonprofit members who value and promoting values and promotes equity and diversity in business and society. For the last 4 years, we've organized the Tennessee Businesses Open to Discrimination, and we have a letter in the field right now. In this role, we operate as a de facto statewide chamber with signers and businesses engaging across the state. From Memphis to Bristol, Clarksville to Chattanooga, Tennessee businesses are consistently speaking out against discriminatory legislation that harms the state's reputation on inclusion and diversity as it relates to our ability to attract, nurture, and retain talent in tourism business. Some of that comes directly from the open letter that we're asking Tennessee businesses, corporations, and small businesses to sign on to. These businesses strongly embrace diversity and inclusion because they want everyone who works for them or does business with them and their families to feel welcome and safe as their authentic selves, not just at work, but in their daily lives as they participate in their communities. Fairness, equal treatment, and opportunity are central to their values because they care about their employees and the customers they serve. These values also directly affect their bottom line. Diversity and inclusion is critical to businesses now. It is the future of business. I'm not telling you this as my own opinion. Every notable economist will tell you this on a bipartisan basis. Tennessee is a great place to do business as we work to recover from the economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. We still have one of the nation's lowest unemployment rates, and companies in many sectors are expanding and hiring. Business interest in the real estate remains high. I speak almost weekly to new businesses that are looking at Tennessee to move to, and run their businesses from. But I'm speaking to them about their questions on what type of an inclusive place it is. And if they're LGBT employees or employees' family members that are LGBT will feel safe and welcoming. That is the number one question we get asked. The other one is, what is with the Nathan Bedford Forrest bust in the state capitol? And both of those speak to LGBT people feeling welcome and Black people feeling welcome in Tennessee. And that goes directly to those businesses attracting and retaining the talent that they need. We then asked the committee to not vote on the bill. The governor all but endorsed this bill. He did endorse the bill a couple weeks ago, the anti-trans athlete bill. And we're asking them to wait because in the testimony before that, Chase from the ACLU pointed out all the legal ramifications that are around this bill. The Idaho bill, which was passed last year, very similar to this, was overruled. It went down in the courts. Since a year ago, the landscape is very different. You had the Bostock ruling on Title VII come out of the Supreme Court, where they ruled that gender identity and sexual orientation were protected under Title VII. The Trump administration only applied that in employment, but the Biden administration on day one made sure that it was known that they would apply it to employment, healthcare, education, and sports. So it's just a completely different landscape than where we were a year ago when this other bill, which has already been deemed unconstitutional, stands. So my request then to the committee today was to not vote on this bill. Give it a year. Let's revisit this in a year. Because here's the thing, there's not one case of a transgender youth wanting to play sports in Tennessee. For the most part, sports aren't even being played in Tennessee. So they can't point to a case that this is solving. It's not answering any issues. It's only causing more problems. So our ask was to wait a year, to revisit this, and to not take the dangerous step of passing this legislation or any discriminatory legislation and bringing down economic consequences on the state. Senator Akbari, the Democrat on the committee from Memphis, then followed up with some questions talking about tourism. Some of the points that we made is Tennesseans continue to build thriving sports, tourist, and convention businesses across the state. It is not just Nashville that people want to come to, it's every corner of Tennessee that is bringing visitors to the state. Especially as we come out of the pandemic, these places deserve to be fully competitive for meetings, events, sports, and leisure tourism. And all of the data shows that discriminatory state reputation hurts that competitiveness. Competition among cities and states for tourism business is feverish, and our cannot afford a mark against them when they're bidding for events, because the headlines the state makes on anti-LGBT or discriminatory issues. Our hospitality and tourism industry and the economy have been hit harder than in any other sector, and the economy from the impact from the COVID-19 pandemic. So many have already gone under, and the rest are hanging on by their fingernails. This sector, the tourism and convention industry, will feel immediate impacts if bills like this pass. They will feel it first, and it will hurt them the most. For reference, last year when the adoption bill was passed in January, I am aware of 14 conventions that canceled after the passage of that one bill. I wrote 7 letters asking groups to not leave Tennessee, to keep their reservations, because we work to stop these bills on the front end, but when they do pass, we have to handle the fallout, because the fallout affects our members and our businesses. The COVID-19 shutdown has canceled all conventions in 2020, so we don't know what the full ramifications of that passage of the adoption of the bill would have been if COVID wouldn't have happened. I think they would have been much greater. Tennessee has a lot to lose in this area. The NFL, FIFA, and the NCAA have all have issues with these bills. Tennessee puts all future tournaments and championship games at risk by passing this legislation. This means that the incredible NFL draft that was held in Nashville, the biggest event in Nashville history just a few years ago, wouldn't be coming back. There are plans to try and host a Super Bowl down the road. That wouldn't come here. FIFA, Nashville is bidding for the World Cup in 2026, and FIFA has commissioned a study on human rights and has made very clear statements that they won't consider locations that have discriminatory legislation in place. And we all love our basketball tournaments that come to downtown Nashville and all across the state. And the NCAA has made it very clear that this is an issue for them. Conventions are 40% of the Nashville tourism economy, 40% of the Nashville tourism economy. 1/3 of all tourism business is produced out of Nashville. Visitors travel, when they travel to Nashville, outside of the Nashville city limits. They go all over Middle Tennessee. So this impact on tourism specifically to Nashville does affect the rest of the state. And 1/3 of the tourism economy comes from Nashville. We're all in this together as Tennesseans, and we're trying to make rural representatives understand that an impact on Nashville in this way will have repercussions in their area. And people are coming to Tennessee. Businesses are coming to Tennessee. It's not just the Nashville or Middle Tennessee region that gets affected by this. More on tourism data. The counseling law that was passed in 2016, it was perceived as discriminatory and received national attention. We lost 7,000 room nights just from 3 bookings with a $3.4 million direct visitor spending impact on the state. That's from that one bill that we can track. COVID impacts on the Nashville hospitality industry have been devastating. And once again, the argument here, just around tourism, not to mention the economic community development of other businesses bringing jobs here, but just on tourism, they're hanging on a bill that is in search of a problem, in search of an issue, does nothing but discriminate, and bringing this economic harm on the state. Just for reference, North Carolina, when they passed the bathroom bill, they weren't the first to do it. South Dakota actually passed it, but North Carolina had the most to lose. So when they passed it and the economic boycott came, that's when they lost. The conservative estimate is $3.76 billion. So that's the testimony from today and kind of what we're working on here. I think this is a good way to kind of understand what we do with this open letter, the case that we're making up there. I want to thank our incredible signers of the open letter. I'm going to share my screen and present a few things. If you haven't seen the action alert that we put out talking about the open letter, by the way, we did an interview on this that you can listen to on WPLN. There's a great Tennessean article that's out right now talking about where these bills come from, that they're bills in search of issues. It's got a lot of wonderful information that I highly recommend everybody take a look at. So our action alert went out, and right now we really need signers to our open letter, the 2021 open letter of Tennessee Businesses Against Discrimination. You can go to our website and read this letter, but also reference the last 2 letters that we've done. And then to sign, you just click this form, fill out this form. It gives you lots of other information there. Our hope for this letter is to release it next week. We'll be updating everybody. It's really going to depend on how fast these bills move and when we expect floor votes in the House and the Senate regarding the athlete bill. But we've got a lot of other legislation that we are watching as well. You can find the entire list on our website of all of these bills. that are discriminatory, that are anti-LGBT. So corporations, we would love for you to sign on. Thank you to the signers that we have. We have over 10, we've got 12 corporate signers. And then we have over 78 at the moment small business signers. Thank you to all of them for taking a stand and putting your name on this letter. We need more. There is a corporate letter out, national corporate letter that our partners at Freedom for All Americans and Human Rights Campaign have put out of over 60 corporations into this. So one of the things that, to stay updated, we'll keep sending you updates, but I want to make sure all of you have the Tennessee Equality Project, that you know about their website and their email alerts. Their action alerts are incredible. We link to them. I'm sure you've seen them in our action alerts, but they give direct action links to write letters in the different committees. I do want to just thank again the Tennessee Equality Project for all of their work on this, and we will keep linking to their events as well. Some exciting news today, some hope on the horizon. The Equality Act was introduced again in the House and looks to move forward and be passed in the House of Representatives. And there's a lot of articles out there. The Nashville LGBT Chamber signed on with many other local organizations. We'll be sharing this, but LGBT state and local groups praised the introduction of the Equality Act and call for its immediate passage. We're looking forward to it passing the House and then moving on to the Senate. And then I do want to thank our member, Amazon, who came out with an op-ed and statement today that says Congress should pass the Equality Act. Thank you, Amazon, for your statement on this and for joining the coalition supporting the Equality Act. It's just one of many that you're going to see, and we'll make sure to keep you informed on all of it. So, you know, that's a lot of information that we just covered and talked about, but I really wanted to try and find a way to talk to you, to bring it to you, because you see it in an email as an action alert and you read and hear, you know, what's going on. And I hope this brings it to you in a different way that's easier to understand and join us in the movement. The business impact and the business argument is there, and we're making that. But after a day like today, where you hear the testimony you do and you hear the legislators talk about these bills, the thing that I have to turn to really keep me going is the trans youth that it affects, and the gay and lesbian kid out in rural Tennessee that sees this and says they're attacking LGBT people. Our transgender brothers and sisters are the marginalized of the marginalized. And we have a lot of education to do as gay and lesbian individuals to learn about transgender issues and to be able to speak on them as well we can without being trans ourselves, and then to go and educate others and to lift up trans voices to do the same. This legislation is directly affecting them. It's attacking them, and we need to do our part to protect them and stop this. So that's what I think of. That's what I do to keep myself going, and that's what I'll continue to do. I hope you'll join us. Let me know if you have any questions. I've had some great conversations this week with members that say, hey, I'm all for you, what can we do? But they did have questions on this athlete bill specifically. I'm happy to talk with anybody on these issues. So thank you all for being a part of the chamber, for following us, to listening to me speak today, and just another way of getting out information to you all. And have a good night. We'll be back with you soon on where we're going and what's next on stopping this.